God with us. From the beginning of the Bible, God had one desire, to dwell among his people. He wanted one thing, to be in relationship with them. In Genesis, God is found walking in the garden and looking for Adam. Genesis 3:9. Abraham had a meal with God and was called his friend. Isaiah 41:8. Jacob wrestled with God until the dawn broke. Genesis 32:30. In the wilderness, God had requested a tabernacle be built because he wanted to dwell among his people. Exodus 25:8. The whole purpose of giving Israel the land was to prepare a place where God could dwell among them. All they had to do was keep the commandments God had given them. These commandments were not meant to be burdensome, but more like vows we take in marriage. We do not keep them out of some legal obligation, but we are bound to a higher law, the law of love for one another. Likewise, the Jews were joined to God in a bond of marriage to follow him in love, with all their heart, soul, mind, and strength. Deuteronomy 6:5. In spite of this, Israel continued to play the harlot and go after other gods. Jeremiah 3:8. Despite their constant rejection, God did not leave them without hope, because he had a plan. One day, he would rescue them from their oppressors, return them to their land, and reclaim them, that they would truly experience his presence. This is the ultimate hope and plan God had since the beginning. John says in the opening words of his gospel, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the Word became flesh and dwelt," or tabernacled, "among us." John 1:1 and 14. Jesus is the fulfillment of this hope. Jesus is God with us, and he came to show us exactly who God is. Everywhere that Jesus went, he revealed the heart of God and what the world looks like when God is fully in control. This hope even shapes our future, as the final picture in the book of Revelation reveals that God in Christ will be dwelling among his people, walking in their midst. Revelation 21:3. This week's passages reflect on how Jesus is the fulfillment of the promise that God would come to his people.